So you violated probation, right? Now what? In this video, we're going to go over what is a probation violation, the different types of probation violations, and what you should expect when you get a probation violation. If you're new to this channel, my name is Brittany, better known as Your Favorite PO, and over here, we help people get through probation successfully because I don't want to see any of y'all go to jail. If you find this kind of content valuable, please do subscribe so you don't miss any future videos from me. A probation violation is simply you not following some rule or guideline that the judge set up on your court order when you signed for probation. Now, there's two types of probation violations. You can have a technical violation or a non-technical violation. And I'll get into different types because the different types matters as far as what's going to happen to you if you do violate. Technical violations could be failing to take a drug test, failing a drug test, like testing positive for drugs or alcohol, missing a meeting with your probation officer, or even missing community service, or even paying a fee. Yes, some states have probation fees, not all states do, but if you fail to pay and that is the condition of your probation, that will be considered a technical violation. Now let's get into the consequences for these technical violations. With technical violations, there are graduated sanctions or graduated consequences. That means if you do it one time, you get a slap on the wrist. You do it 2 times, like the consequence goes up and up, right? So let's be more specific. Say you test positive for a drug or alcohol, you failed a drug test, right? The first thing your probation officer is probably going to do is just talk to you about it, ask you what happened, why did you do it, when did you do it? And if you admit to it, fine. If you don't admit to it, that's still kind of fine. The first time, you really kind of get off with a warning for most probation officers. Now, the second time, like I said, consequences are graduated, so they just get gradually worse. So the second time you test positive, you will probably get something more stern, like having to take a class or increase in drug tests. Yes. Some people automatically assume if you test positive for the first time that you're going to go to jail, and that's really not the case. I cannot tell you how many people DM me and email me saying, oh, I failed a drug test. I'm so scared. I don't know what's going to happen. Listen, on your first time, it's usually just like a little slap on the wrist, okay? Now, the second and third time, let me get to the second time. You're probably going to experience something more intensive, like having to report to probation more often or having to take drug tests more often. And then depending on the drug, that's a whole nother situation. That's a whole nother story for another day. But if you want to know about the specific drugs and what will happen with each of those, let me know. Just comment it down below. So like the third or fourth time that you test positive, that is when the probation officer is going to take it up another notch. So you're probably going to go to court or you're probably going to speak with a supervisor. But 9 times out of 10, you will be referred to a substance abuse counselor. So you have to sit down and talk to a drug counselor so they can give their professional opinion on whether or not you have a problem. Because a lot of times people don't admit that they have a problem, or maybe you don't know you have a problem. So that's why you have to talk to a counselor. And then once you talk to that counselor, they'll make a recommendation. And now it's going to be up to you if you follow the recommendation or not. If you don't, then that comes with its own set of consequences. But yeah, that's just an example. Okay, so as you would expect, if you test positive 4 or 5 times, that's when you're likely going to get a motion to revoke probation. That's when, hey, you're getting locked up, okay? So when it's your 4th, 5th, 6th time testing positive for drugs or alcohol, that is when you should be worried about going to jail. So let's talk about if you fail to report to probation or if you fail to report to community service. That's also a technical violation. So the first time, it's kind of similar to the drug one. If you don't show up, then they'll probably just give you a slap on the wrist, right? Just tell you, hey, don't do this again. Why didn't you show up? So they're probably going to ask you like for your work schedule and see what your schedule is like on a day-to-day basis so that going forward, they can schedule you something that's going to work for both of you so you don't miss any more appointments. All right, that's the first time. Second time, probation officer's probably like, okay, so what's up? So then then they're probably going to ask you again, what happened? Why'd you miss? Of course, the consequences are going to get a little bit more strict, like I said before. So they'll probably have you report more frequently. Say, okay, you missed last month, so this month you're going to come and see me twice in the office. Or they may do another random home visit because you failed to show up. The third time you missed the appointment. Okay, so if it's the third time and it's the consecutive time, so I haven't seen you in 3 months, right? And I haven't really talked to you either. So that's when the probation officer is probably going to file a motion to revoke the probation, or the state's attorney is going to file a motion to revoke the probation. That means you don't want to do it. You're not showing up. So in order to avoid that, you got to show up. And if you can't show up, call. But I'm going to make a whole separate video on what to do when you violate. for each type of violation. So if you want something like that, or if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the video, and comment down below if you want to see that video. Another technical violation is when you don't pay probation fees. Like, not every state has probation fees, but the ones that do, or court fees as well, you have to pay on a monthly basis. And if you don't pay, that's a technical violation. So of course, the first time you don't pay, they're like, okay, you missed the payment. Like, make sure you make it up next month. Next month rolls around, you still don't do it. The next month rolls around, you still don't do it, right? So we're 3 months in the hole, right? So now they're going to start asking, they may start asking for check stubs, right? You're going to have to show them, like, what's your income? They may ask you to fill out a budget sheet. So write down all your bills, your income. Let's see what you have left over at the end of the month, right? So third, fourth, fifth time is coming up. Okay, like I said, the consequences get harsher, right? So by the time we get to the third, fourth, or fifth, you're going to have to talk to a supervisor more than likely. So that's just you one-on-one with the supervisor. They're going to go over everything, the budget plan, everything that you and that PO talked about. They're going to go over all that. And then they're going to come up with a payment plan for you. Like, hey, what is realistic for you to pay? They don't want you to go to jail, okay? We try to do like all these things before it gets to the jail part, or to the judge, right? So all this stuff is being documented, right? Every month they didn't pay. We did this, we did that. We made a budget. We got their check stubs, right? So they're looking at all this. So if you don't follow through with the plan after you talk to the supervisor, then that's when you're probably going to go to court. I don't think at this point you're going to go to jail. Well, in most states, they won't lock you up for not paying, but you will have to take a trip to see the judge, okay? Now, let's say, for instance, you have all these violations put together, right? You failed to report, you failed to pay, and you failed to do community service, and you even have positive drug tests, right? You have all of it. You have the trifecta, basically. So if you have the trifecta, it is very, very likely you're going to have to go take a trip to see the judge, like, automatically. Well, not automatically, but the probation officer is probably going to recommend you go take a trip to see the judge. And when you do, make sure you have your wipes ready and that toothbrush, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. Because the judges are like, you're not trying at all. Like, what are you really doing? Like, what are we doing here? You're wasting our time. We're wasting your time. Like, let's just get this over with, if you know what I mean. But hopefully, I don't want anybody to get to that point. But if you are to that point, you need some advice, make sure you check the description box below, because I do offer one-on-one consultations with people. If you want to talk to me about your specific situation and how to deal with it, hey, I do consultations one-on-one. Click the link in my description box, and yeah, go to yourfavoritepr0.com. It'll also be linked in the description box. You can set up a one-on-one call with me, and we'll go over it. We'll get you right, because, we don't want nobody going to jail in 2024. The last thing we're going to talk about is the non-technical violation, which would be committing a new offense, committing a new crime while on probation. Or getting arrested, period. Say, for instance, you didn't really commit a crime. This is a crime that happened prior to you getting on probation, but you just got arrested for it. Okay, these things are called non-technical violations. So if you get arrested while on probation for a new crime, listen, all bets are off. They're just off. Kind of like with the trifecta. You're going to end up in court. The probation officer is going to file a motion, or the state's attorney. There is a difference. Is going to file a motion to revoke probation, or a motion to adjudicate guilt. Meaning they're going to list every single violation that you have since you've been on probation. They're going to send that information to the court. The judge is going to see it. The state's attorney is going to see it. And at that point, the judge is just going to decide what they're going to do. If they're going to keep you on probation, or if you're going to go to jail or prison. But if you want more info, or if you want a video on revocation hearings and how to prepare for that, I'll do that video for you too. Just comment down below. Like, I'm here to help y'all. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment down below. I'm answering everybody's questions, because this is literally why I have this channel. So let's help each other, okay? And if you have some experience that you want to share, comment it so everybody can see it, because we want to keep people out of jail, okay? That's the whole thing. I hope this all made sense, but that's going to be it for today's video. If you want, you can follow me on my other social medias where I do talk about probation as well. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I post videos kind of like daily. Some of them are funny, some of them are serious, but they're going to be all informative and all about probation. All right. So until next time, y'all stay safe. Bye.